Hello, this video is about using variables in Terraform. Using variables in Terraform is a very good practice because it simplifies the whole architecture of the project and provides some robust and easy to use functionality. So let's first create a main.tf file and let's add the AWS provider. I'm using this Terraform extension which gives me these auto suggestions, so yeah, it saves quite a lot of time for me. Let's define the region, which is US East 1, and now let's try to create an EC2 instance resource which goes by the name AWS instance, and we can here call it anything. Let's say example. Okay, then let's define the there is okay instance type property. Here I think, yeah, it's T2 micro. Then I will define the AMI ID. I hope you are aware with the AMI, and let's just for now put it anything. And lastly, the subnet ID. So these are the bare minimum fields which are like, you cannot create an EC2 instance without these three fields. So any other are the at this point are optional ones, but these are like the bare minimum. So this way usually we define a resource, but it's not considered a good practice because here we are defining variables openly which are open to anyone, and it's not a good safe security practice. So let's define let's leave them as it is for now and create another file called variables.tf, and here I will define those three variables. Let's say variable AMI ID, and let's give it some description, AMI ID, and yeah, that's it. Now for the instance type description, which is some instance type, and for this one let's define a default value. Default value is beneficial when like we somehow forget or somehow not providing the custom value, so this is a fallback mechanism that it will pick up this value even if we don't give it any other. Let's say it is T2 micro, and let's define the other remaining variable which is subnet ID, and give it a description, the best subnet you could ever find, blah blah blah. Okay, after these things, so we are halfway there. Even if we define it does not mean that these will be passed on to the main.tf, and these also do not have any value at this point. So to provide them the actual value, so we have to define another a file which I would say Terraform, but the extension would be different this time. it will be TF_vars. Okay, so in this file we can directly define the variables, the values to the variables. I have copied from my other screen and putting it here. So as you can see, this is the T2 medium instance type, and in the variables I have a default T2 micro. So this value here in the TF_vars file will override the default one. And lastly, we just have to reference the variables we just defined, var.ami_id. So this is the way to reference a defined variable using the var keyword subnet id. Okay, and yeah, this looks okay now. So this directory does not isn't a Terraform directory just yet, so first we have to initialize it. Terraform init, so it will download the provider libraries, which is AWS in this case. So behind the scenes it utilizes the command line API for the AWS, and it downloads some meta files libraries which is required to communicate with our provider. So we do not need to worry about that. After that, there is a command to do a sanity check for our configuration without actually creating the resources, which is the Terraform plan. If this shows us green signal, then we can move ahead and create the actual resources. Yeah, everything looks good. Now I can say Terraform apply -- auto approve, because I do not want to provide my consent every time. I think spelling. Okay. It's in the process of creating. Yeah, it's complete. Let me show you on my EC2 console, and let's refresh or just open it directly. Yeah, as you can see, this is a T2 medium type, and it was just created and it is in initializing status. So yeah, that's how you can create resources and use variables and override the default ones. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching.